This afternoon, we have the Black Dragon Draft Order Gauntlet for you. The FSA Sunday Ticket is back with a new wrinkle that nobody expected. And we've got a brand new initiative for you here at FSA. All of this and more in 30 seconds.
Welcome to Alliance Report Studios, brought to you by Sport Management Solutions. Here's your host, Brian B.
Hey, fellow fanatics, welcome to the Alliance Report. Thanks for joining us today. Let's get into it. We have the Black Dragon Draft Order Gauntlet for you this afternoon. Here is your rundown of the show for today. We already mentioned at the top of the show, we're going to talk about the FSA Sunday Ticket and its new wrinkle, and then we have a new initiative here at FSA that we want to talk about as well. Kind of see the title there, but we'll get to it a little bit later on. Want to take you straight to the draft board so we can talk about some of the changes that are going to go down in it, but I need to pause for just a second. I'm going to mute you all once I sit you on the board.
Welcome to Alliance Report Studios, brought to you by Sport Management.
Sorry about that, everybody. We have a little family thing going on around here that I needed to take care of, and it just so happened right as we were going live on the show. So I really apologize. I have no idea why all of that other stuff popped up either. Let's see, who do we got out there? Chico says, always bet on black. Monhay's out there saying hello all. Chico again saying morning. Mad Dog Knox, Matt Brown saying hello. Let me get you all up on the board here too, so you don't think that I'm ignoring you at all. So let's see, Chico, we got a little happy face with the sunglasses on there. Always bet on black. Good morning, because it is still morning where you are. Matt Brown saying hey. Tracy there as well. I see you're popping up. Ferg is out there saying that the 4th overall pick coming my way, calling it now, and he can't wait. So I really apologize for that. That little goof up there. I had to put you all on mute, and then whatever just happened with the stuff. So I apologize. But let me take you back over to the Black Dragon board and tell you what's going on. So we made a couple of changes to the board this year. The number 11 on the action dice used to be a lock. And somebody else had borrowed this idea from me of doing the draft order gauntlet this way. And they changed the lock to flipping a row in number 11. And I actually really liked that idea. So I adopted it or stole it from the person who originally stole it from me in the first place. So that's our one change on the action dice. And then we actually changed the final roll this year as well. When you roll 2 8-sided dice for the final roll, the most common number that comes up is number 5. Number 5 used to be move everybody up or down one position. Not a lot happens to the board in that instance. So what I wanted to do was I wanted something that would affect the board a little bit more in that number 5 spot. So what we ended up doing was taking what used to be in number 5, which was the move up or down one position, and we moved it to the number 2. And then everything that was in the 2, the 3, the 4, all shifted down. So what used to be the number 2 is now the number 3. That swapped 2 teams positions, 2d12. Number 4 is swap 3 teams positions, 3d12. 5 is now swap 4 teams with 4d12. Let me get you guys back over here on this screen. So what we're doing is like we normally do. The 25th anniversary Walter hat is right here. I'm going to fold up all of the teams that I have right here and put them in here one at a time. We're going to shake up the hat. We're going to pull out the first team, and then we're going to put it in the board in the spot 1 through 12 based on the die or the roll of the single 12-sided dice. And that's where we will get started before we start doing any of the action dice. Before we do that, I do have to pause. Once again, I apologize. I will be right back. Okay, we are back. Thank you all for being patient today. I guess that's one of those things about doing this on a Sunday at 1 o'clock. And when your kids have more adventurous social lives than you do, you have to keep up with all of that. So let's see whatever I've missed. I saw Ferguson's message out there. I saw Mad Dog Knox, Matt B, Matt Brown tracking. Monhay says that he is hoping for 1 through 4 or 8 through 12. And then Matt Kroll says right underneath that, welcome to the Rashid White sweepstakes. That won't happen until tomorrow. Paul is in the Gold Dragon region, so that will go down tomorrow at 8 p.m. And since it's a Monday night, hopefully my kids don't have a social life that keeps them so daggone important on a Monday night that I have to have any interruptions like I just had. Let's see. Jeff says, let them roll. Appreciate you. Sure wish this is your first one with us. In fact, I just pulled yours up right now. Sure wish you had that Black Dragon drink that you were talking about earlier that you could have cracked. Or the Snake Eyes drink right when the Snake Eyes happens during the show. And then who else is out there? Oh, I see Spence. I see you out there as well. What's up, mother fathers? And I almost slipped and said it. Nothing other than my kids having more important social lives than even I have, I guess. So hopefully that is nice and settled and we can get started here shortly. Got the last 1 or 2 teams going here in the hat. Ted's Lasso going in the hat. The Bearcats going in the hat. The Black Dragon region is stacked. If you guys read the article, we have our last 5 champions all in this region. So remember we had co-champions back in 2022, and then the champion from 2023, 2024, 2025, all in this region. So it is a very stacked region. Spence says 47 minutes in, that's when he's hoping that the Snake Eyes come. Well, if I don't get this daggone kid settled and get her out the door, it might be 47 minutes before we pull the first one out the hat. But no, we're good. I'm going to switch back over to the board right now. There we go. Actually, I need to stay here for you all. It's time to shake up the hat, and we're going to pull our first team out. And we're going to roll the 12-sided die and get them on the board. And then, you know what? I said earlier in the chat, I really hope we have Snake Eyes early. That would be really, really nice. And I feel like Sean said during the Red Dragon, we did have it early, but we were 25 minutes in. And then not too long after that, Damien, the mad scientist, came on and said, it's never good when you show up late and the board is cleared because we had just had our Snake Eyes. Spence, look at this. First one out the hat is you. We're getting ready to put you on the board. Let's see where you are going to go. Let's roll that 12-sided die and get you up on the board. We are going to put you in the number 12 spot. I don't know if that's poetic right now or what, but you are going to go in the 12 spot to get us started. You know being in the 12 spot's never a bad thing, though, because 12 can get you to 1 really, really fast. Anthony says, I'm hoping that the Snake Eyes is on the last roll. If anybody remembers Delta, and we talk about it every single year, I hope that's not the case. Lord, I hope that's not the case. All right, let's roll some action dice and see what we can make happen with Spence now that he's up on the board. He said lock him in. Unfortunately, there's no locks this year, but that is a 10. So we're doing a 3-team swap with 3d12. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to queue up 2 additional 12-sided die. And I'm going to roll 3 of them, and we're going to read them left to right. And if any of them has a 12 on it, you will be rolling or moving somewhere. Let's see if we get a 12 anywhere. We have a 1, a 2, and a 4. That does not have a 12 in it, so we will be going back to the action dice. Action dice says 7, which seemed to be a very rare thing to get while we were doing the Red Dragons the other night, which is very odd because 7 in craps, like essentially what we're doing with a 2 6-sided die, should happen more often than any other number on the board. And I swear it was like 7 was just avoiding us for some reason on Thursday night. So 7 means we're going to pull a team out of the hat. We're going to roll the 12-sided die. We're going to put whatever team this is on the board and whatever spot that it is. If for some reason it ends up being 12, we will re-roll since that's the only other team on the board. Lucky ass Ferg, one of our co-champions from 2022, is getting ready to go on the board. Let's see where we are going to put him. Let's roll a single 12-sided die. And let's get him on the board that is a number 9. So we are putting Lucky Ass Ferg in the number 9 spot. And we are going to roll some action dice. Action dice says 8, which means we're going to roll a d12 and replace the team if that position is filled. And since we only have teams in the 9 and the 12 right now, that would be the only time that this team would replace them. If not, they'll just go into one of the empty spots. But before we do that, we have to get one out of the hat. Let me get the 47 minutes locked in off the screen because I feel like that's almost jinxing at this point. Groot, Jonathan Broughton getting ready to go up on the board. Let's see where we're going to put JB. See if he's going to go into an empty spot or if he's going to go into that 9-12 spot. Roll that 12-sided die, and he is going to go into the 12 spot. So, Spence, you got put in the 12. You're getting ready to get replaced. We're going to put Groot up on the board in your spot. I'm going to take you off the board, put you back in the on-deck circle, square, whatever you want to call it. And just so everybody knows, so we don't forget, you are getting ready to go back into the hat. All right. Let's go back over here to the board and roll some action dice. Action dice say we have a 5, which means we're going to roll until an open position is filled. That means this next team out of the hat will go on the board. If we happen to roll a number that's already filled with a team, we continue rolling so we can get this team up on the board. Let's see who we're putting up on the board. We are putting Aviators, Matt Brown. If you're out there watching, you're getting ready to go up on the board. Let's see where you are going to go. Let's roll that 12-sided die. Because we rolled a 5, we will continue rolling until an open position is filled. So if we roll a 9 or a 12, we will roll again. And we roll a number 7. So Matt Brown, you are going with the Aviators into the, let me get Music City Miracles closed out here. Aviators queued up. We are going to put you in the number 7 spot. That bottom row filling up quite a bit. Let's roll some action dice. Action dice says 7. So it means we're going to pull another team out of the hat, and we're going to continue rolling until we have an open spot to put this team on the board. I am liking these 7s coming up, but I feel like we're getting ready to have as many teams on the board as we had when we got ready to have the Snake Eyes the other night. So let's see who's going up. We are putting the Lunatics, Anthony Monhay, one of those champions that we talked about from the last couple of years, getting ready to go on the board. Anthony, let's see where we're putting you. You are going to go in the number 10 spot. Nobody is there right now, so the Lunatics is getting queued up and put on the board in the number 10 spot. All right, let's roll some action dice. 4 teams on the board. There's the Snake Eyes. I knew it was coming. All right, Snake Eyes. Well, there's one more team on the board than what we had last time. So we got 4 rolls into it. 14 minutes in for anybody who was keeping track, and I'm sure that was delayed a little bit because of all of the shenanigans at the beginning of the show. So Anthony says, woo, not terrible. However, it doesn't matter because you're going back in the hat. All 4 of you are now going back in the hat that were on the board. And we're starting all the way over. So let's go up to the Black Dragons here. Let's cue you all back over into the on-deck circle. And we'll pretend like it never even happened 15 minutes in. I'll take 15 minutes in over the 25 minutes that we had the other day, even with some delays. And it seems like the dice gods are playing nice with us today. And we are getting some sevens, so I'm pretty excited about that. All right. We are all back in the hat. We are all in the on-deck circle. Snake Eyes has happened once. From here on out, Snake Eyes will not clear the board. And now the 7 drought begins. Monet says, I hope not, man. I hope not. All right, let's pull a team out of the hat. Let's see who this new team is that's going to be up on the board. I got 2 of them there. Let's grab the one in the center and see who's going to go up on the board. Ferguson says way too soon as well. All right, Brady sits down to number 1. Kelvin, if you're out there, you're getting ready to go on the board. Let's see where you are going to go. Let's roll that 12-sided die and put you on the board. You are going to go into the number 2 after the reset. So Brady sits down at number 1, which is an awesome Ravens logo that we created, is going up to the number 2 spot. It would if you would actually move. I'm not sure why it's not moving. There we go. Going up to the number 2 spot. Let's roll some action dice. Action dice says 10, which means we're going to do a 3-team swap. It means we got to queue up 3 12-sided die. We're going to be reading them from left to right. If a 2 comes up in any of these, Brady sits down to number 1. We'll be moving. All right, we have a 2 going to 5, 5 going to 9, 9 going to 2. So, Kelvin, you just hit the board, and you're already moving from the number 2 spot to the number 5 spot. I'll go back over here and because this is the only place that I've got it set up to be able to put your guys' messages up there. Let me get a couple of these up there. Spence says it was way too soon to get the snake eyes. Ferg says the same thing. Spence says so unsatisfied. I hope you have a beer in hand. Maybe it'll make this all a little bit better. Let's go back over and roll some action dice. Wish I had a beer in my hand right now. I've got a big Michigan cup of water for all of you Ohio State fans out there. All right, we got a number 4. Means we're going to move everybody up or down 1 position based on an even or an odd roll. You got to queue up 1 12-sided die. Remember, when we say up or down, you got to think of this board like it's stacked with number 1 at the top and number 12 at the bottom. So when we say move up, you're moving closer to 1. When we say move down, you're moving closer to 12. And remember, the board is circular. So if you're at 12 and we move down, you're moving into the number 1 spot. So only 1 team on the board. I've got 1 12-sided die queued up. Let's roll it and see if we are moving. Brady sits down to number 1 to 4 or 6. All right, we have an 8, which means we are moving him down 1 position from the number 5 spot to the number 6 spot. And Spence says he's watching softball practice. That's definitely probably more satisfying than this right now. Let's roll some action dice. Action dice says 8, which means we are going to do a D12 and replace if the position is already filled. We've only got a team in the number 6 spot, so this team will go on the board, whoever it is. Could go in any spot, could knock Brady sits down to number 1 out of the 6th spot, depending on who we pull out here. All right, we have Spence. You're going right back up on the board. Awesome. He said not a chance that softball practice is better than this. Well, you're getting ready to go on the board, so we got a little bit of excitement. Let's see where you're going to go. Let's see if you're going to replace him at 6 or if you're going to get your own spot. You are going to go in the 12 spot, right where you started whenever before we had all of this shenanigans go on. So let's queue up Music City Miracles, and let's put you in the 12 spot right from the get-go. And let's roll some action dice. Action dice says 6, which means we're going to swap teams' positions with 2d12. Means I've got to queue up a second 12-sided die and roll it and see if the 6 or the 12 get affected by this at all. 3 and 9, that doesn't affect anybody. We go back over and do some action dice. Action dice says 7. It means we are going to put a team on the board and we will continue to roll until a spot is open. So we got to get a team out of the hat. See who we're going to put up on the board. We are going to put Groot. Jonathan's going back up on the board. Let's see where we are putting him. We will roll until we get an open position because we did end up getting a 7 on this. So let me get the 1 die queued up. See if JB is going to go into an open spot or if we're going to have to roll again. He is going into the number 8 spot. So Groot, already on the board once, now joining the board again in the number 8 spot. Let's roll some action dice. Action dice says 5, means we're going to roll until an open position is filled, same as what we just did with the 7. Means we have to get a team out of the hat, and then we will continue to roll until one of those open spots is filled. We will not replace a team, so if one of the spots is actually filled, we will not replace. All right, we are putting Ted's Lasso up on the board. Brian Ware, one of our other champions, getting ready to go up on the board, and the father-in-law for Matt Brown. I'm glad to see that you two got to go into the same league this year and play against each other. All right, we're going to roll a 12-sided die. We're going to put Brian Ware up on the board in the number 10 spot. So let's get Ted's Lasso queued up. Let's put him in the 10 spot. All right, 4 teams on the board again. Let's roll some action dice. Action dice says Snake Eyes again. That's poetic that it was on after we had 4 teams on the board. But now that we've already done the Snake Eyes once, now we are doing a 3-team swap. So I will queue up 3 12-sided die. We will read them from left to right, and we'll see if anybody is going to move around on this board. All right, from left to right, we have 6 going into 5, 5 going into 5, 5 going into 6. So Ringgold, you are going to move from the 6 spot to the 5 spot and stay right there. So you moved back up. I think you were already in the 5 when you came on the board, and that 4 took you down a spot. Now you're back in to the spot you started off with. Let's roll some action dice. Action dice says 7, which means we're going to put a team on the board in one of those open spots. We have to get one out of the hat. Kelvin saying, woohoo! Hopefully you like that spot. We'll see if you stay there or not. Matt Brown coming back out of the hat again. The Aviator's getting ready to go on the board after father-in-law was put on the board. Let's see where you end up going in relation to him. Let's get you 1 12-sided die queued up. And let's see, because it was a 7, we will continue to roll until we get an open spot. Yeah, Monet says, guess no drought. We're definitely not having a drought right now. All right, we just ended up moving. Brady sits down to number 1 from the 6th spot. And now the Aviators are going to take that spot. So let's get them moved up there. Yeah, no drought right now. I'm okay with that, man. I am actually okay with that. Quite a few 7s coming up. And we got the Snake Eyes out. Matt's a symbol. Yeah, let me go back over here so I can get my face. So I think we missed, well, when it pops up, I will put it up on the board for you, Matt. Matt Kroll, our really good friend from Canada, Canadian. Matt, I don't even know. Is it Canadian Army? I guess I've never really asked. I just always assumed it was Canadian Army. I had a really great idea of trying to get all of the mats that we have in this league together in one region because we have 5 of them. We have 5 mats in this league, and it just didn't happen. So yeah, that we missed opportunity there for sure. I 100% agree with you. All right, so we just ended up putting Aviators up on the board in the 6th spot. Let's roll some action dice and see if we can get somebody else up on the board. We are rolling another 7. So you say MP. So is that like an entire separate branch for you all? So it's not like you're the military police inside of the Canadian Army? Purple trade, we have all elements. Purple trade. Man, this has got to be something I need you to explain to me sometime. I actually had no idea. I guess I don't know enough about the Canadian Army or the Canadian military. Interesting. I never knew that. Man, you know what? Hey, if you're not doing anything after this and we pick a time for happy hour and you want to jump on, that would be awesome. So we could just talk. Speaking of Maniacs coming out, and I wore the axe hat today because I was trying to figure out if I had anything from this region where I could wear to make anybody feel welcome. I put the FSA jersey on, but I put the axe hat on just for you, man. So let's get you up on the board, and since we rolled a 7, we will continue to roll until we get you in an open spot. So let's see where you're going to go. You are going to go in the number 8 spot. You're not. We're going to have to continue to roll until we get an open spot because Groot is already there. Look at that. Another 8. Let's roll again. We are our own military occupation. We cover all bases, so we aren't element specific. That's pretty cool, man. That is very neat to know because you probably know this on our side. We have military police on the Army side. Air Force has security forces, which is basically the same thing on their side. So that's very interesting. All right, number 10 is also filled. So we got to continue to roll. 8 again. That's 3 8s. Interesting. How about a number 7 instead? Let's put the Maniacs in the number 7 spot. Get you moved over there. That bottom row getting pretty full. All right, let's roll some action dice. Action dice says 10, which means we're going to do a 3-team swap. We got quite a few teams up on the board. We got 6 now. Half the board is filled. So let's see if we queue up 3 12-sided dice and we read them from left to right if we're moving anybody today or not. All right, so we are going to move 9 to 3, 3 to 3, and 3 to 9, which means nobody's moving. Let's roll some action dice. Action dice says 5, which means we're going to roll until an open position is filled. Half the board is filled right now. That means the other half still needs to be filled, but we have to pull somebody out of the half first. They will not be replacing a team, so we will have to continue to roll until we have an open spot to put this team into. And we are putting in Here for the Beer. Jeff, you're getting ready to go up on the board. Let's see where you are going to go. Let's cue this back down to 1 12-sided die. Let's get a number that is open and get you up on the board. That is a number 2. So Here for the Beer. Jeff, one of our rookies in the FSA, but definitely not a rookie to fantasy football, is getting ready to go on the board in the number 2 spot. See, Matt says you guys have 3 distinct elements. We have all of those, but they all report to one chief of them. That's very interesting. See, all the things that I learned just because we play this silly little game called fantasy football. All right, let's roll some action dice. Jeff, you're on the board in the number 2 spot. We have a number 9, which means we're going to swap teams' positions with 2d12. And what's nice, Matt, is you're saying that to a room full of military people as well. So you've got Matt Brown is out. Bearcats is still in as far as I know. Brady Sits Down is retired. Lucky Ass Ferg is still in. Lunatics is still in. I'm trying to go through the board and find out who's still in there. Of course, you're in there. I think that's everybody. So you're in a room full of military people. So it's very cool that we're learning this. All right. 9 says we're going to queue up 2 12-sided die and we're going to roll those and see if we're moving anybody around. Let's see. 12 and a 4. That means we are taking Spence and moving him from the 12 spot up to the 4 spot. I wonder if he likes that a little bit better. Let's roll some action dice. Yeah, I thought you did. I thought you had told me once before that you kind of had worked in something like what we would call for the NCIS. That's what I thought. And now you're a French student, which I think is awesome that you're getting to do that for that whole long period of time and that you don't really have to report because that is your thing and you're getting ready and you're able to do it remotely. I think you're set right now for a year. All right, let's roll some action dice. Action dice says 4. It means we're going to move everybody up or down one position based on an odd or an even roll of this 1 12-sided die. Remember, the board stacks and it is circular. So if we're moving up, everybody shifts closer to 1. If we're moving down, everybody shifts closer to 12. Let's see what we roll. That is a 1. That is an odd. That means everybody is moving up 1 position. So we're going to move here for the beer up to the number 1. Spence just moved up to the 4. He's going to 3. Brady sits down, is going from 5 to 4. Aviators from 6 to 5. Maniacs from 7 to 6. Group from 8 to 7. And Ted's Lasso from 10 to 9. Let's roll some action dice. 5. Oh, and Anthony says that he worked with the Canadian EOD group. Now, I know that I worked during that last deployment with the Royal Marines and the British Army for where I was at. So that was also pretty cool. It's very cool anytime you get to work with NATO. All right, we rolled a 5. That means we got to pull a team out of the hat, and they are going to go on the board in one of those empty spots. We have 5 empty spots left. We were getting really full on the bottom row, but everybody seems to be shifting around, and now that top row only has 1 spot left in it, where the other 4 are in the bottom row. So let's see who's going on the board. And since it's a 5, we have to continue to roll until we get them on the board. And we got the Bearcats getting ready to go up on the board. That co-champion, along with Lucky S. Ferg from 2022, getting ready to go on the board. And let's see where we're going to put him. We have to continue to roll until an open spot is filled. So we've got 2, 8, 10, 11, 12. That's a 7, so he needs to be re-rolled. That's a 4. We just ended up moving somebody into that spot, or out of and into. That's a 1. Somebody's already in that spot, so we have to continue to roll. That is a 12, so we are going to put the Bearcats in the number 12 spot. And we have 4 spots left. Let's roll some action dice. All right, that is an 11, which means we are going to flip a row. This is the new one to us this year because we took away the lock. So here's how this works. Depending on the number that we roll on the 12-sided die, that coincides with the same number that's in a row. So if we roll 1 through 6, we will be flipping the top row. If we roll a 7 through 12, we'll be flipping the bottom row. And when I say flip, this is what happens. Let's say we do roll a 1 through 6. The here for the beer ends up moving from number 1 to number 6. Aviators go from 5 to 2, and then the 2 teams in a 3-4 spot will flip. So it's just like flipping the board. So Matt, I think you said a little bit ago, this is where it starts. Number 1, here I come. If we end up rolling a 1 through 6 here on the 12-sided die, you will be moving into the number 1 spot. So you might have called it. Let's see what we get. We get a number 8, so we're going to flip the bottom row instead. So we just put Bearcats on the board. Them and Groot are going to flip. And then right there in the center of the board, Ted's Lasso just goes from number 9 to number 10. Not a big move there. But let's roll some action dice. I think Matt's probably over there saying boo. Let's see. Number 7 means we are going to pull a team out of the hat, and we are going to put somebody on the board, and we have open spots in 2, 8, 9, and 11. So we have those 4 spots left open, 4 teams left in the hat. 106, what team even are you? I have to look. Who's in number 6? Let me go back over and see that again. We are pulling lunatics out of the hat. Anthony, you're getting ready to go up on the board. Let me see where you're going to go. Number 6, maniacs. He's a maniac. I don't know. It's some crazy dude holding a couple of axes or something like that. We changed it. What I think last year was the first year you used it, Matt, from the what used to be the old Maniacs app from the XFL. We just had it recolored, and one of the eyeballs changed to a Canadian maple leaf. All right, so Anthony, you're getting ready to go on the board. Let's roll 1 12-sided die. We have to continue to roll until a 2, 8, 9, or 11 comes up. So it could take a little bit for us to get you on the board or not. It could happen because 8 seems to be popping up so much. Let's put you on the board in the 8 spot. And then let's roll some action dice. Action dice says 7. Well, Anthony, we are definitely not short of getting 7s today. That is for sure. And I am okay with that. We're 35 minutes in. I think when we were at the show on Thursday night, I think we were starting over at this point. So I'm glad that's not happening. All right, we're going to put Turd Ferguson up on the board. Jason Norris is last year's champion getting ready to go up on the board. Turd Ferguson, because we rolled a 7, we have to continue rolling until a 2, 9, or 11 pops up on this 12-sided die. So let's see what happens. We got a 3, so we have to roll again. We got a 2. 2 is now open, so Turd Ferguson is going in the number 2 spot. We have 2 spots left open. Let's roll some action dice. I like return to the mean. I'm okay with that. We rolled a 10, which means we're doing a 3-team swap with 3d12. The board's almost completely full, so this could actually make some pretty good moves right here. So let's queue up 3 12-sided dice and let's see what happens. Left to right. Let's see. Number 8 is going to go into the number 8 spot. That doesn't change anything. 8 is going to go into the 9 spot, and 9 is going to go to the 8 spot. So, Anthony, you're basically moving from the 8 spot to the 9 spot, and that is it. No other changes. Let's roll some action dice. So now we have a new spot open as another one got filled. And we have a 5, which means we're going to roll into an open position is filled. And we have the 8 and 11 left, just 2 spots. So let's pull one of the 2 teams that's left, and we will roll until we get an 8 or 11 to put them in that spot. Who is this? The wishful thinking and don't know that name, so I don't know who that is. Let me see if I put them up on the screen, if I can see who that is. See if I can see the thing a little bit more. I still can't tell who that is in that little tiny thing. All right, let's see who's going up on the board. 7 works too. Well, there we go. The detectives are getting ready to go up on the board. Adam, you're going on the board. So 7 works as well. Who did I just move around? Anthony, that's not you, is it? No, it's not you. You're already up there. I'm not sure who that is. All right. So detective's getting ready to go on the board. Wait a minute. Is that Matt? Matt, I don't think you've ever been here live for one of these. Is that you? That would be awesome if that's you, man. All right. Detective's getting ready to go on the board. We have to roll an 8 or an 11 to be able to get him in the board. And that's why I don't recognize the name. That would be amazing. It would be great to see you here, man. All right, 8 or 11. Could take us a while. That is a 9. I don't know, 8's been coming up quite a bit, so maybe it won't take too many rolls. Man, that's awesome, man. Hey, welcome. It's good to see you, man. I'm glad you were able to make it. And you, oh, is that Adam? Okay, man, I'm so confused. Adam, where were you? You were looking for 7. Okay, you haven't hit the board yet, but you're getting ready to go on right now. Gotcha. So confused. And I'm not even drinking. Let's see if we get you in the 8 or the 11 spot. Again, doesn't mean that's where you're going to end up getting stuck at or where you'll stay at, because you've seen how much this board moves around. There's that 8. It just keeps popping up. So we're going to put you in the 8 spot. He said story of your life. All right, let's get the detectives up there on the board in the number 8 spot. Means we only got 1 spot left. That's the number 11. 1 team left in the hat. Lots of stuff can happen in between now and then before we even get that last spot filled. So let's roll some action dice and see what happens before we get to this one. Adam says I'm confused too. I'm not confused anymore. 10. We're going to do a 3-team swap with 3d12. That's what I'm talking about. That 1 spot left open doesn't matter. We could still be moving around for quite a bit. Let's queue up 3 12-sided die. Let's read them from left to right and see who moves around. Left to right, we've got 6 going to 12 and 12 going to 9. All right, 6 is going to 12. Let me get over here on the board. Matt, you're coming down here. 12 is going to 9, and 9 is going to 6. And just like that, that is where everybody is at now. Matt, you're 1 spot away from being in the 1 spot again. Let's roll some action dice. Action dice says 6, which means we're going to swap 2 teams' positions. So let's queue up 2 12-sided die and see who's going to move around. Board mostly full. Somebody could still slide into that 11 spot based on what we roll here. All right. We have a 3 and a 10 that are going to flip-flop. So Spence, you're going down to 10. Ted's Lasso going up to 3. Let's roll some action dice. There's an 11, so we're about to flip a row. So Anthony says he's out of the range that he wanted to be in. Hey, you could be a number 1 here really, really quick. Let's see which row we are going to flip based on whatever die roll we get here. Again, whatever the number is that we roll, that is coincides with what row we will flip. 1 through 6 is the top, 7 through 12 is the bottom. So we are flipping the top row. So Anthony, you were just talking about not liking where you're at, and now you're moving up to the number 1 spot. So you in here for the beer flop, Turd Ferguson and the Aviators flop, and Ted's Lasso and Brady sits down to number 1 flop. And we still have another spot left open, which means we still have action dice to roll. We got a number 8, which means we're going to roll a D12, and we will replace a team. There's only 1 team left in the hat. We're going to pull them out. If we happen to roll 11, then they go into that spot. If not, they will be going into a spot that's already occupied by a team. Lucky ass Ferg, you're the only one still left. And then you will pull somebody from the board, and then we will continue to roll action dice. So let's pull up 1 12-sided die and see where you're going. You are going in the number 10 spot. So Spence, you're coming off the board. Let me get your paper here. We're going to put Lucky Ass Ferg in the number 10 spot. I'm going to queue him up. Put him over. Spence, you are going off the board. You are our now dude left in the hat. See, it's getting folded and put in the hat just in case it matters, in case somebody else comes off the board and goes and joins you in that hat. And then let's go roll some action dice. Action dice says 5, which means we're going to roll until an open position is filled. There's only 1 spot left open. There's no reason to continue rolling if we're just going to put you in 11 spot. So you're going into the number 11 spot. So let's go back over to the board, and then you'll get to see my face here for just a second before we get ready to go to that final roll. In fact, you know what? Let's just go ahead and talk about it. So the final roll, we changed the 2 6-sided dice to 2 4-sided dice. 2 4-sided dice will give us a total somewhere between 2 and 8. Based on that total will be what we do to the final roll of this board. And whatever that final roll is after that is concluded, that will be the draft order. All right. So those of you who have never seen 2 4-sided dice before, they look like pyramids. The way you read the numbers is at the top of the point whenever they land. I get a total up here on my screen, so I also know what they are too, so I'll read it out to you. Let's go back over to the board just to talk about it again because of the changes this year. Remember, 5 used to be the move up or down 1 position, but that was the one statistically that was supposed to show up the most, and it didn't do a whole lot to the board, so we decided to change it around this year. We actually did this test when we did the AHSDL draft order show earlier this year for the Dynasty League, and then we used it the other day in the Red Dragon region. Of course, we'll do it again in the Gold Dragon. But yeah, so the what used to be 5 is now number 2. What used to be 2 is 3. What used to be 3 is 4. And what used to be 4 is 5. So what we wanted to do was the thing that happens most often, the number 5, we wanted to make it jumble up the board a little bit more. So if we do, in fact, get a 5, we will move 4 teams around. On the Red Dragons on Thursday night, we ended up getting a 4, which means we moved 3 teams around just before the final roll. All right, I am taking off the 2 6-sided dice right now. I am queuing up 2 4-sided die right now. And we will roll. You'll see 2 4-sided dice come across the board. Whatever it is, that will be what affects the board. And whatever the outcome is of that is the draft order. Here we go. 2 4-sided dice say 8, which means we are flipping the entire board, which means 1 becomes 12, 2 becomes 11, 3 becomes 10, 9 becomes 4, 5 becomes 8, and 6 becomes 7. And Matt, just as you predicted, you are going into the number 1 spot. So I will make all of these adjustments one at a time here. Not a big movement in the middle of the board. There we go. I will clean this up. I will get it out to you all in a little bit. However, we're not going to end the show like that. Like we said at the top of the show, I've got 2 more pieces of news that I want to put out there. Let me get this all nice and pretty and clean for you all, though. So final draft order is Maniacs 1, Music City Miracles 2, Lucky S. Ferg 3, Group 4, Detectives 5, Bearcat 6, Here for the Beers 7, Turd Ferguson 8, Ted's Lasso 9, Brady sits down to number 1, 10, Aviators 11, and the Lunatics number 12. Let me see what everybody says. Let's see. Nice. My stomach hurts. Let's go. Still in my range. I feel like I had 10 last year too. Can't escape it. You might have. It'd be funny to go back and look last year to see if that's exactly what you had. This board is like the final destination of fantasy. I like that. That's kind of cool. So that's the order. I'll take a screenshot of it and send it to you all after this. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to get down to these last 2 topics that we have here for the day. So the FSA Sunday Ticket. Well, first off, let me close out the Black Dragon Gauntlet. League Safe is open. I think we've got 20 people that have paid in, 20 out of the 36. So I appreciate you all that have paid in. If you have any questions about League Safe and paying in, hit me up on Discord. We have 1 more gauntlet on the calendar, and it's tomorrow night, the Gold Dragon region. We're not kicking that one off until 8 p.m. Normal Monday Night Football slot, even though there's no Monday Night Football. Make sure you come out and join us. Hopefully we get a lot of 7s tomorrow, and we don't have the long one like we have with the Red Dragons on Thursday night. So yeah, that takes care of that. Again, you guys will get the rundown of that after I get done with the show here. FSA Sunday Ticket. So we said a couple of weeks ago that it's back, but now it's back with a little bit of a wrinkle that nobody expected. So Damian Scott, the mad scientist, was actually the person who came up with the idea for the FSA Sunday Ticket. I was actually in the process of going to a Girl Scout outing. Him and I were exchanging text messages. He says, I have an idea, and he threw it at me. And because we were working with the AI to help with the website and database building and stuff like that, sort of working in my head, can I make this happen or not? And I started talking back and forth with AI on my app. And by the time I got home, we had a working, at least logical product, but not actually coded yet. And we coded it within a couple of hours, and it worked. And we did it all of last year. Turned out to be a very, I think, popular and a good thing. The final score, the winner that took it ended up only winning it by 1 point. So it was really close battle all year. So because it's Damien's brainchild, I wanted to make sure that he was a part of it this year in some sort of way. And I asked him, would you like to be the guy that's kind of like, I don't want to say stump the chump because that's not the right verbiage I want to use, but like that, if you can imagine. So I said, can you beat the mad scientist? So we will play FSA Sunday Ticket all year. At the end of the year, if you have accumulated more points than the mad scientist, you will get $5 off your membership next year. So you will play all year. If you end up beating Damien, you're ahead of him in the points at the end of the year, you will get $5 off your membership next year. So that is the FSA Sunday Ticket and the new wrinkle. Let me go over here and see what everybody's saying. Jeff says he'll take 7. Cheers. Thanks, bud. Appreciate you. Adam, I appreciate you. Spence has with a terrible number 2 pick. Emergency Snake Eyes needs to be deployed. No Snake Eyes. No more Snake Eyes. We can get you to hop over to the Gold Dragon if you want and replace somebody, and they can take your spot. And then you can do this all again on tomorrow if you want. All right, so that takes care of the Sunday Ticket. Let's talk about this other thing that's down here, the FSA Clubhouse. So think about it this way. Your fantasy league has a platform, but does it really have a home? And when I say that, I mean, I have found from some of the other general managers that I've talked to here through the FSA channels that there isn't a lot of chatter in their leagues once the season gets started. And past the draft. And I'm not saying that we are chatty, but I feel like we do a very good job. Very community feel over here in the FSA Discord. So what I decided to do was open the doors to the FSA Discord to outside leagues and commissioners, no matter where they play. So this isn't a recruitment. This isn't like, hey, you come over here, you have to play FSA. Just wanted to give other people a place to chat. So if you play in a league that doesn't do a lot of chattering because nobody wants to manage a chat room for it, bring your entire league over. What we'll do is we'll give you a private channel on the FSA Discord. Nobody else has to be able to get in there and see it. And then we will also open up all of our community channels that are in the FSA world. They can mute them if they want to, but they'll be there to be open so they can see what FSA is all about and see the kind of community that we've built. So if you're interested in this as a singular person, in a league, and you, sorry about that, singular person in a league and you want to move your entire league over, hit the people up in your league and say, hey, would you guys like to have a spot to chat? If you have a buddy or a friend that you think would benefit from being over there just because you think they would have, they would just add to the FSA Discord community, I'd love to have them around as well. So if you're interested, hit me up on Discord or tell your friends to go out to Instagram or X because we have the advertisement out there. Look for us at iPlayFSA. Hit us up and we'll set you up on Discord. That's it. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We did it in under an hour. Pretty excited about that, even with all of the interruptions. Make sure you tune in. If you're still out there, make sure you tune in for tomorrow night's Gold Dragon Gauntlet. And here's why. And I'll probably make the announcement again tomorrow on Discord. The pitch that the interns gave to me on the 31st of July, you're going to want to be here to hear it. It's awesome. We are going to adopt and implement their idea, and I can't wait to tell you all about it. So if you want to hear about it first, make sure you're here. It will be at the end of the Gold Dragon Gauntlet draft order. So you can tune in a little bit later if you want to be able to catch it. We'll make the announcement there, and then we'll make the announcement on Discord on Tuesday as well. But they did an amazing job. I can't wait to talk it up. Tell you how it went, what it was about, how we're going to adopt it, and how we are going to use it in FSA. All right, that's it. I'm Brian B. This has been the Alliance Report. We're out of here. Everybody have a good afternoon. Black Dragons, I will put your draft order in the WRL channels and your channel here shortly after we get offline.
Thank you for watching The Alliance Report, sponsored by Sport Management Solutions, the leader in athletic communications. A special thank you to The Recast, the official music of the Fantasy Sports Alliance. If you enjoyed tonight's show, please like, share, and subscribe, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, and TikTok. Have a great night, everyone, and remember, we are fanatically real.